Order in the court. I'm Judge Mackenzie residing. Please be seated. All right, let's go over the details of this case. From what I've heard, you were pulled over on June 10th for having a passenger not wearing a seatbelt. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. That is correct. I was fully compliant with wearing my own seatbelt, but was unaware of the recent change in legislation that now holds the driver responsible for ensuring all passengers are properly restrained as well.
I see. Can you tell me more about when you became aware of this change in the seatbelt law?
Certainly, Your Honor. Prior to the incident on June 10th, I was operating under the understanding that passenger seatbelt use was the individual's own responsibility, not the driver's. However, I later learned that the state legislature had actually passed an updated seatbelt law back in March of this year, which now requires drivers to ensure all occupants are properly secured, regardless of whether the driver is wearing their own seatbelt. Unfortunately, there was very little in the way of a public awareness campaign or clear notification about this significant change in the legislation. I had no reasonable way of knowing about the new requirement prior to being pulled over.
I see. So you're saying you had no prior knowledge of this updated law?
That's correct, Your Honor. As a generally cautious and law-abiding driver, I would have gladly ensured my passenger was buckled up had I been aware of the new legislation. But without any widespread public notice or targeted communication about this change, I simply had no way of knowing about the updated seatbelt requirement.
I understand. And can you speak to your overall driving record and history of safety compliance?
Absolutely, Your Honor. I have been a licensed driver in this state for over 15 years, and during that time, I have maintained an exemplary driving record. I have never received any previous traffic citations or been involved in any accidents. Safety has always been my top priority when operating a vehicle. I am a cautious and attentive driver who takes great care to follow all traffic laws and regulations. This incident on June 10th was truly an unintentional oversight on my part, due solely to my lack of awareness of the recent change in seatbelt legislation.
Okay, that's good to know. And what steps have you taken, or do you plan to take, to ensure this doesn't happen again going forward?
Your Honor, I can assure you that I have already taken proactive steps to educate myself and my regular passengers about the updated seatbelt law. I have thoroughly reviewed the new legislation and am now fully aware of the driver's responsibility to ensure all occupants are properly restrained. Moving forward, I will make it a point to routinely check that everyone in my vehicle is buckled up before starting the car. I will also take the time to directly communicate the legal requirements to my passengers, so that we are all on the same page about the importance of seatbelt use. Additionally, I am willing to commit to regularly monitoring and confirming seatbelt compliance for every single trip, no matter how short or familiar the route may be. Safety is of the utmost importance to me, and I am determined to be a responsible, law-abiding driver in all aspects.
I appreciate your willingness to take these corrective actions. It sounds like this was truly an unintentional oversight on your part, and your driving history and commitment to safety are commendable. Given the unique circumstances of this case, including the lack of widespread public notice about the law change, I'm inclined to agree that a written warning would be a more appropriate resolution than a full traffic citation. However, I do want to stress the importance of staying up to date on all traffic laws and regulations, and ensuring the safety of all passengers in your vehicle. Moving forward, I expect you to be fully compliant with the seatbelt requirements, without exception. Are there any other questions or concerns you'd like to address before I render my final decision?
No, Your Honor. I understand and appreciate the gravity of this situation, and I am fully committed to upholding the updated seatbelt law going forward. Thank you for your consideration and understanding of the unique circumstances surrounding this incident. I will be sure to remain vigilant and compliant with all traffic safety requirements.
Very well. In light of the mitigating factors presented, I am issuing you a written warning for this violation. Consider this your notice to ensure full seatbelt compliance for all passengers in your vehicle, effective immediately. If I were to see you in my courtroom again for a similar offense, the outcome would likely be much more severe. I hope you take this experience to heart and continue to be a safe and responsible driver on our roads. You are dismissed. Drive safely.
Thank you, Your Honor. I understand, and I assure you that I will do everything in my power to be a model driver and ensure the safety of all my passengers. This experience has been a valuable lesson.